Hi, welcome to the BoshNRoll channel. I'm your host, Brian Koval. Before we get started, make sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. If you want to see me play your favorite deck or your spicy brew on the channel, I take donation deck lists. I'll do a deck tech, play a full Magic Online League, and help tune your list. If that sounds good, check out my contact info. It's in the video description below. Now let's go play some Magic. Welcome back to another BoshNRoll video. Today I'm playing Legacy, and this is a donation deck from Patreon subscriber Vinny, and Vinny has me playing Blue-Green OmniShow. So this is a deck I've played, I think, twice on the channel before. The original version I played had Oko in it, so it's been a while. But this deck, basically, it takes the classic blue-red Show and Tell package. Show and Tell, of course, the powerful sorcery that lets each player put an artifact, creature, or enchantment or land from their hand into play. And basically, the gamble here is that your thing's going to be better than theirs because you have Omniscience, Grizzlebrand, and Emrakul to put in. And those are better than, like, the Delver of Secrets or whatever a normal deck's going to put in. So, instead of the traditional red to complement the big monsters with sneak attack, this has green to make sure the Show and Tell resolves. This deck is facilitated entirely by the existence of Veil of Summer. The purpose of Veil is that instead of overwhelming the opponent the way Sneak and Show tries to, where you just cast multiple Show and Tells and sneak attacks until one of them sticks, and you back it up with Force of Will and Daze and stuff like that, you just play a more patient game. You wait till like turn 5 or 6, and then you cast Veil of Summer, and then when you know everything's going to resolve, you go for your Show and Tell, put in Omniscience, and then you win the game on the spot. And the ways that you win the game on the spot are, because Emrakul with Omniscience is a hard cast, you get an extra turn, and you get to attack for 15 and annihilate immediately. Unlike Show and Tell, like if you just put in Emrakul off Show and Tell, you don't get the extra turn trigger. You have to pass the turn. They have one turn to figure it out before you get to attack. Omniscience, you get a cast, you get a trigger. Grizzlebrand, you draw 14. You can cast all of those for free off Omniscience. It's going to be hard for an opponent to beat that. And Cunning Wish is the big difference between this deck and the Sneak and Show versions. Omniscience comes into play. Cunning Wish is an instant, so even if they put in something like Reclamation Sage to destroy your Omniscience, in response to that trigger, you can Cunning Wish for any of these like cool tricks in the sideboard. The coolest of which, in my humble opinion, is Sublime Epiphany. Choose one or more counter target spell, counter target activated or triggered ability, including that Rec Sage. Return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. Copy a token, or create a token that's a copy of target creature you control, and target player draws a card. So you have this gigantic Stifle that you can cast for free and get a bunch of extra value off of in response to something that could kill your Omniscience. And the clean kill is you Cunning Wish for shared summons, then you shared summons for Emrakul and Grizzlebrand, you cast them both, you take an extra turn, attack for 22. So that's how the deck works. My favorite part of this deck is the sideboard pivot onto Shifting Ceratops. So Shifting Ceratops can't be countered. 4 mana, 5/4, pro blue. 1 green can give it your choice of reach, trample, or haste until end of turn. Delver can't beat this card. Can't be done. Which is good because Delver is pretty good against the main deck plan. The list Vinny sent me had 2 Uros in the main deck, but in my experience with this deck in the past, Uro just isn't good. It's just really hard to actually get 5 cards in your graveyard to escape with. You don't really have the backup because it's the only creature in the whole deck. Like, you do all that work putting Uro in, and then they just have their removal spell because it hasn't had anything else to target the whole way up the curve. So I just haven't really liked Uro, so I've added 2 extra Sylvan Libraries in that place. This is a very powerful card. It's a reason to be green in Legacy these days, so digging with Sylvan Library I like better than that. I added a Seagate Restoration to the deck as well. There were 0 in the original list, and I've seen as many as 4 in Omniscience lists before. It's just so powerful. The fact that once Omniscience is in play, you can just draw huge chunks of your deck with the front side of this card, and the back side dealing you 3 damage sometimes when you need to play it as a land. It's not free in this aggressive blue-red Delver sort of metagame we're in right now, but I definitely want at least one of this card. It's probably right to play more, but I'm going to stick with one, see how it goes. And Vinny was insistent that all 4 Icefang Quad will be in the deck. This is another reason to be green. This is just a creature that interacts, takes the pressure off you. The threat of a Death Touch Ambusher against like Delver is a big incentive for them to be more careful with their attacks, and that buys you a lot of time to get up to that Veil of Summer plus Show and Tell turn. So this is a pretty tight package. I actually really like this deck. I bought a Eureka in real life the first time I played this deck because I was like, wow, this is good. I need to own a Eureka. Eureka didn't make it to this build of the deck, and that's okay. We'll have Shifting Ceratops in the deck before they have Surgical Extraction in theirs. But I'm excited to do this, and I'm excited to get to win more games with Shifting Ceratops. Let's go get into it. I'm on the draw in round 1. I've kept this hand full of lands and cantrips. We have the Omniscience and the Cunning Wish. It's got to find a Show and Tell and some protection for it. Ponder, Brainstorm, and Icefang Coatl will do some digging along the way. Alright, we're playing against a deck with Preordain and Underground Sea in it. My immediate thought is Doomsday. Ad Nauseam Tendrils is also on the list. I think both of those are more likely than some sort of like Grixis Delver in this metagame. There was a time that maybe I would have thought something different, but right now I'm thinking we're in a combo mirror. And of course, by mirror, I mean they're also playing a combo deck. I don't think it's a Show and Tell mirror. But if it is, they're in trouble because I have Omniscience in my hand. So, extremely interested in Force of Will, found one right away. Also, if I get to untap and put that Veil of Summer in my hand, that gives me a lot of protection if they're Ad Nauseam. They did bottom their Preordain, so didn't find what they were looking for on that one. Another Ponder. Right, they chose to shuffle that Ponder, and now they have a fetch land for something. Duress, huh? Okay, that's actually fine. I'm going to let that resolve. I'm not going to force it, because the Veil of Summer coming off the top, plus this handful of cantrips, gives me a lot of manipulation to still protect myself next turn. But if they just go like Lotus Petal, Rit, Ad Nauseam right now, good job, you got at me. But I think that that hidden Veil of Summer is going to do a whole lot of work. So I can cast this Ponder, but I think I'd rather save the Brainstorm. Like, I may have fetched wrong. Like, if I had fetched Basic Island with my Prismatic Vista on turn 1 and had access to Tropical Island off Scalding Tarn now, maybe I Brainstorm in that spot or Ponder. But the fact that I need to get Basic Forest with this kind of constricts my options. I think I might Coatl in the end step if they just pass the turn. So that puts a quote-unquote threat, but if they're an Ad Nauseam deck, their life total is a resource, and every point of damage I can put on them is one card that they might not be able to draw off Ad Naus. Do need to hit some lands, though. Yikes. Okay. That's not what I wanted. So I'm going to put the Show and Tell on top with the Omniscience under it. Yeah, missing that land drop is harsh, but I do have Ponder to get rid of that second Omniscience. We had a pretty clean win lined up next turn if the Ad Nauseam happened, or if I found a land there, but I just didn't. But if they cast a black spell this turn or blue spell, I might just want to use Veil of Summer as a cantrip, even if it's not protecting me from a Tendrils. Yeah, this Basic Forest up is pretty scary for them. Oh, okay, maybe they are Doomsday, like Bug Doomsday. Ad Nauseam Tendrils would definitely not have Baleful Strix in it, but a fair deck definitely wouldn't have Duress in it. So I think that we are playing against Doomsday. I'm just going to get my cantrip. I need to find that third land before I'm dead. Alright, found the third land. Okay, so I probably just want to attack. Though, does that matter? I don't think that actually matters at this point. And I guess I could play around them being like secretly bug ninjas or something if I can block this Baleful Strix. I don't know. I don't know if any of that is important, but I feel like it's important. So hopefully they don't do anything that I need to react to. And then I can Veil of Summer, then Show and Tell the Omniscience. If they want to fight me, they have to counter the Veil. Because it doesn't get any better. Here's my 4th land to make that happen. And I do this up front because if we're going to have a counter war, I want to know it's coming right now off the Veil of Summer. And they know they're dead if this happens. Alright, so force pitching days. I think I want to jam. Yeah, let's party. Well, I guess if they pitch days, that means they don't have another blue spell or they have another days. Okay. Still think whittling down their hand, their answers, is reasonable, but maybe if I pass the turn, I get to play around days. This matchup does frequently come down to patience or impatience on the side of the Omnitel player, so I might have blown it. Especially with this Sylvan Library active right now. Yeah, I should have read into them pitching days to Force of Will before my spell was on the stack. Because if you have any other blue card, you don't pitch days in that spot. So, like, they either had no second blue card or they had a second days. And there was like no other thing that made sense. Now I'm probably going to lose to the Sylvan Library. I think I should have just cast mine and tried to keep up. They kept one extra card over there. And I can Cunning Wish for Flusterstorm in response to a Doomsday if I have to. I don't think any of these cards in Epiphany can stifle the Thassa's Oracle trigger, but that's 6 mana, so that's unlikely to happen. They're not fetching black mana here, though, which is kind of strange. Makes me feel like they don't have the Doomsday, or it's like not in a rush to put it into play. Hey. Or we can just top deck the card anyway. Science. So I have the Cunning Wish and the Emrakul. I don't want to pay with 15. I want to cast with Omniscience. Okay, now they're dead. They only have 6 permanents and they're under 15 life. Welcome to Show and Tell. Yeah, this deck is not as good at casting like multiple Show and Tells in a row as Sneak and Show is, because they have functionally 8 of them with the sneak attacks as well. But when it does come together, it's pretty nice. Okay, so they are a deck full of islands. I like Carpet of Flowers. Do I want to pivot onto Shifting Ceratops? Because it's not good against their combo plan, but if they want to settle into this like Sylvan Library Baleful Strix game, then it's pretty decent. Also, in building this deck, I considered Solve the Equation, which is a new card from Strixhaven. It's a 3-mana sorcery, blue and 2. Search your deck for an instant or sorcery, put it in your hand. That might be better than Intuition, because sometimes you don't have 3 copies of the thing you want left in the deck, but Intuition being an instant is a kind of a big deal for the Omniscience deck. That's kind of close, and I'm not good enough at building Show and Tell decks to know how important it is, but it's a thing you can do. But I'm going to cut Intuition and Drawn from Dreams. Yeah, I think I want to just kind of pivot onto mostly a Shifting Ceratops plan. I don't think I'm going to need Coatls. If they are actually Doomsday, that's not really important. Flusterstorm's in. Surgical Extraction, is that a card I want? Like, if I can counter a Doomsday and then extract them, that goes a long way towards winning the game. I can leave the second one in the sideboard to wish for. Do I want the first one? And if I do, what am I cutting for it? I don't think I can cut Emrakul's or Grizzlebrands or Omnisciences. Those are untouchable over there. Could cut Impulse because I can still Cunning Wish for it. Yeah, it's pretty cool that boarding out instants, you still sort of have access to them. Alright. Yeah, that seems fine. I'm not sure if pivoting onto Ceratops is right for this matchup. It just depends on who thinks that they're the beatdown. If my opponent thinks that they have to combo quickly, then this plan is pretty bad. I'm just going to get dumpstered with a handful of dinosaurs, but if they think they're the control deck, then it's going to be pretty good. But I mean, Flusterstorm is pretty good in the matchup. Like, the Flustery or Doomsday and Extracted is the line that I mentioned in sideboarding. But of course, they're a deck full of discard spells, so we'll see if I even get to cast this Flusterstorm. Alright, they've seized my thoughts. Let's see what kind of game they want to play. If they strip the Flusterstorm, I might be getting hit pretty quickly with a Doomsday. If they take Sylvan Library, they're trying to play a longer game. I don't think they can possibly take Omniscience unless they have their own Surgical Extractions, in which case I'll be pretty glad that I have Ceratops in the deck. We'll learn a lot from this Thoughtseize. Alright, Flusterstorm. You got it. Alright. So let's try to make it to turn 3. I don't think I'm interested in Surgical Extracting their Thoughtseize. Like, I could wait till their draw step, strip the Thoughtseize, make sure that this hand goes unbothered. But forcing a shuffle after Doomsday can make their Doomsday pile a little weird. Of course, if they Thoughtseize me here, I will live my life full of regret. But they don't have... If they Thoughtseize me, they have to take Show and Tell or Library, and I just get to keep whichever one they don't seize. It's a good deal for me. I'm definitely just jamming Sylvan Library if I get another turn here. It's not looking good, though. Ouch. Alright. My day has been doomed. So basically I need Surgical Extraction to buy me a turn, and then I need to... Sylvan Library needs to draw me into something that kills with Show and Tell. So there is a line here. If their hand has Force of Will in it, we definitely just lose. But there is some game to play. I also get to see their pile with Surgical. It's important to note that Surgical shuffling their pile may or may not actually stop them. Plus, they know about the Surgicals, so they could make a pile that I actually can't disrupt. I guess depending on what those 3 cards left in their hand are. You generally don't want to draw the Thassa's Oracle right away. You want to draw that last. Preordain. Would I rather Preordain or Sylvan Library? I guess I should Surgical them, get the information, and then I can make informed decisions with it. Okay, oh, they have the Ideas Unbound in their hand. So they cast Ideas. They draw 3 cards. Let's imagine the worst 3 cards they could draw. That's Cavern, LED, Oracle. No, Cavern, LED, Petal. are the worst cards they could draw. Plus they get a draw step for their turn. Street Wraith. Yeah, so they can get the Oracle no matter what. So I actually do need to preordain looking for Force of Will. If I can force the Ideas Unbound. Alright, we're dead. I guess I'll give them a chance to mess up. But we're not winning this game. Yeah, so I needed Ideas Unbound to be in the pile, which gives us a chance for them to draw the Oracle before they want it. So I guess if they draw Oracle, they don't get to use LED for mana. Alright. I think this does what they need it to, right? Yeah, they just play Cavern, Oracle, and if they don't have the Oracle, they cycle straight right into it. Yeah, this was a lock. Needed to Force of Will the Ideas Unbound, and just don't have it. One turn late. Alright. They're taking their time figuring this out. I guess that makes sense. Like, Doomsday you can't really mess up, so you might as well take your time, make sure you've thought of everything. Alright. It looks like the shuffle literally didn't do anything. Oracle is still just the bottom card. Alright, you got me. Close, actually. Okay, does anything change about this composition? I don't think so. They did go really fast, which maybe I want a higher blue card count for my forces. Though Shifting Ceratops can show up and just punch for 5, which, I mean, they're not going to lose life from any other. Like, they're going to go to like 8 off of Doomsday most of the time, so that probably doesn't matter. Alright, yeah, I'm going to make that small change. Just one more blue card, one less 5/4. I would like to play first. This hand does everything I want it to, except have lands. But if I can find a green source to get this carpet into play, I have 2 cantrips to do it. We can make this work. Uh-oh. Bottom. Well, we're in danger. Bottoming that show and tell wasn't exciting either, because now if they duress me, I don't have a second one. Would have been super nice to Okay, so they probably take show and tell or brainstorm. Like, if I just find the land and cast carpet, they're gonna wish they took show and tell. But I think brainstorm is the take here, and it's not really close. Of course, that's what I'm saying without any of the information about what's in their hand. So I guess they take carpet, they can daze my brainstorm. If they do that, it sets them back a turn, and I'm not even mad about it. So I'm going to put Surgical and... Is it Grizzlebrand? Surgical, like... I'd rather have... I guess no, if I'm going to show and tell one thing, I would prefer it to be Grizzlebrand. Alright, so I'm going to put Omniscience on the top. And pass the turn. So I have some protection from Flusterstorm here. And then next turn I can show and tell with Force backup. And put in Grizzlebrand and just draw 14. There is no fast man in this deck. There's no Lotus Petal, there's no City of Traders. So all of those are slightly concerning. Knowing they're a Daze deck too does make me want to sort of settle in, but the fact that they have these discard spells, is a little worrisome. I don't know. Am I supposed to play a control game, or am I supposed to just jam show and tell? Alright, well, the Omniscience is gone. The conversation is over. Hope they don't have Veil of Summer or a Flusterstorm of their own. Who knew? Surgicaling the Duress would have got a card out of their hand. That's not a play that you're going to make, though. Like, basically at all. Alright, so I would like to draw any blue card. Any blue card at all. Given that they just jammed the second Duress, they shuffled their library. And just some blue card to pitch to force would be great. That's a blue card. I think it's time to go for it. They have 5 cards in hand. Shit. Please don't have more. Grizzle Dad. Okay. Maybe I'm not supposed to do that right away because now they can cast discard spells, but I think that's okay. Now, luckily I missed. Like, if I didn't miss, I would feel kind of silly if they discarded a force that didn't need to be in my hand. Yeah, I'm pretty sure just pass the turn Hellbent is the way to play this game. I don't think I want to fight over Doomsday. So how do I win the game if I don't? Like, do I think they can win the game on the spot, or are they going to pass at 9 life? I'm going to let Doomsday resolve and then fight over the pile. Shifting Ceratops, unfortunately, 1 mana short of just pounding in here for surprise lethal. But I do have Show and Tell and Omniscience, and I can draw 14 cards. Like, I'm pretty likely to find an Emrakul here if I get another turn. And if they do have a go for it this turn pile, I can draw another 7 and try to find another force. Though there are only 3 in my deck and 40 cards left, so the numbers aren't good on that one. I mean, I do have Grizzlebrand in play against an opponent who is forced to go all in right now with 3 cards in their hand. If their hand is like LED Ideas Unbound, and they can, or if it's land LED Ideas Unbound, if those are exactly the 3 cards in their hand, they can probably cast Oracle this turn, but maybe not with much disruption. But okay, the Ideas Unbound. Yeah, if that is their hand, they can win this turn through a force of will. So I'm just going to hope that that's not the case. They appear to be passing the turn. Okay, so I think I want to attack, draw 7 with the possibility of drawing 7 more, and then cast Show and Tell. A7, let's go. I would really like a Veil of Summer before I start making moves, but I don't know if I get that luxury here. I can draw the 7 if I need to. Alright, Science is coming in, and I have the Cunning Wish. So this should do it. Glad I attacked before, and then... Alright, you're out of here. This combo decks, 2 ships in the night. Pew pew. GG's. And I'm on the play against a Yorion deck. Already jealous of their deck. The most common Yorion deck is probably Death and Taxes, but then there's some like Bug and even World Gorger Dragon combo builds behind that, but I'm going to keep this hand. It's got some cantrips and ways to develop, so it's fine with me. Figure out what they're up to over there. Most Yorion decks you're not going to really need or want Force of Will against, but I guess to win a counter war with win a counter war over Show and Tell is what you're looking for with that. The fact they let on basic Swamp makes me want to leave up this Veil of Summer. Like if they just cast him to Turok right now. Charming Prince. Alright, so this looks like Esper Vial, probably. So I can flash in my Coatl right now to try to use all my mana, or I can Brainstorm right now while I have a fetch available. I think I want a Coatl just for mana efficiency. I think I have to get the basic for a chance at Death Touch. Alright, Brainstorm, find me a fetch land, please. Good job. So, I don't need 2 Force of Wills, I'm sure of that, and this Mystic Sanctuary is a long way away from being helpful. I also love that I haven't quite given up that I'm a combo deck yet. So the second Coatl is reasonable. The Omniscience is there, and then it's digging for Show and Tell from there. The bad news is, if they're super heads up and recognize what I'm doing, Meddling Mage is a huge beating, because I would have to Cunning Wish for Echoing Truth. Or, I guess, Sublime Epiphany if I have millions of mana. But I would have to Cunning Wish for Echoing Truth. There's not a way in the main deck to remove a permanent. If they just Meddling Mage Show and Tell. Alright, you ready to trade? Nope. Didn't think so. So I think I want to Coatl, then Brainstorm again. Alright, beautiful. Found the Show and Tell. Tuck these away, play this. I have the Veil of Summer and Force of Will to protect it. Might as well beat down. Got the second blocker on lock here. Yeah, so Veil of Summer, Show and Tell, Force can pitch Brainstorm, and then I can wish for the squad. Though, if they're going to have a lot of cool permanents to put into play off of Show and Tell. Their whole deck is just cool permanents. So there is some small risk here. But I think we're going to do all right. Well, this is not a Daze deck, it is a Force deck. So I don't think I need to draw that 5th land on top of my deck. I think I can shuffle in my upkeep. And Vial on 1 isn't going to do anything. If it was even on 2, maybe it would be scary. Like if they put in Recruiter of the Guard off Show and Tell for some sort of disruptive 2-drop, like Vial in. I don't know, but the... Okay. Show and Tell can put in Yorion. Alright, so second Force of Will. Does that mean I want to lead on the show and maybe save the Veil? Yeah, I think that's fine. Pivot. Suddenly. So they would need 2 Force of Wills to stop this from resolving. And saving the Veil until the spell resolves stops things from getting bounced. Yeah, that doesn't matter. Sure. Yeah, you can have Coatl. I could Veil of Summer that, I just don't care. Alright, now we can go get the squad. Alright, so they did have a super cool permanent to put into play. Gilded Drake would trade with Emrakul or Grizzlebrand, except that it wouldn't because I had the Veil of Summer ready. I could give it Hexproof from blue, so that just didn't matter. Alright, Dismember and Echoing Truth. I should leave one in the sideboard to wish for, but bring in the other. Just have to decide what version of that I'm going to do. This would be a great matchup to have a Eureka to dig for, because that card is pretty good when your opponent has Meddling Mage that you have no good answers to. I think I want to bring Echoing Truth into the deck because Dismember is cheaper to wish for. It's 4 total mana instead of 5. And I think that's the only thing. I could bring in the Carpets. Like, their creatures are just so good that I don't think Ceratops is going to get it done. Though maybe I have to make that pivot because they are this Hateful Prison deck. Like, if they get onto, like, Mono, Thalia, and Meddling Mage, Ceratops can just be a hard pivot and get them. Do I want to do that? That's really the debate. I mean, I could also bring in Carpet of Flowers because they are an island deck, but we also saw basic Swamp and Scrubland out of them. All right, if these Ceratopses come in, what comes out? I guess that's the real question. Drawn from Dreams would probably come out. They'd shave on Force of Will because they... because I have the Veils for the protective stuff, and I don't think I really need them to be, like, proactive. I could cut an Impulse for the last one. I'm actually going to do this. I just like taking a sidestep all the time, even if it's not, like, on paper the best thing to do. The unexpected value of it is valuable to me, so I am going to take the sidestep. If they just keep a hand of 4 Meddling Mage, 2 lands, I don't want to lose to that. And Shifting Ceratops is the way that I avoid it. Alright, we have both kept our hands. I'm going to play the land that can cast Veil of Summer. Probably should have played the Misty. I was already playing Delta in my brain before I drew Misty, but who needs basics anyway? Force of Will is cool. That lets me fight over Meddling Mage or similar. I don't think I need all 4 of these lands, and I don't think I need 2 Show and Tells either. Like, it's going to resolve or it's not. And I have 2 Veil of Summer to protect me from discard. And if they have something like Meddling Mage, I don't want to get stuck with redundant copies of the dead card in my hand. I guess if they cast Meddling Mage, I can force it pitching Show and Tell because I have another one floating on top of the deck. But I'm not even sure how much that plan is right now. Like, I don't have a monster to put in. You need Omniscience to put in this matchup. Like, we saw the main deck Gilded Drake, and after sideboard they're going to have even more stuff. Teferi Time Raveler. Well, that one gets a Force of Will. Should I pitch Coatl or Show and Tell? Because if they force back and I have to Veil, then I lose both Show and Tells. I'm going to pitch Coatl. I hope they do force back. I'm ready. I might Veil in the end step. Even if they don't force back, I might cast Veil for the cantrip. Yes. Alright, this feels like cheating when you get to force something, when you get to Veil of Force of Will. Nice. That was a giant blowout. Force pitching, Force of Negation. Wow. Good stuff. Sylvan Library. That was a phenomenal draw in this spot. And I have another Veil of Summer at the ready. Oh, wow. Force pitching Lavinia. Just 4 for 0'd them over that turn cycle, and they gave up. They're out of here. Veil of Summer is busto. And on the draw, round 3, kept this hand. Cantrips and some protection. Ooh. What type of Once Upon a Time deck is this? If it's a Chalice of the Void kind, we could be in a lot of trouble. But if it's the Elf kind or the Maverick kind, we got a plan. Uh-oh. Alright, so it might be the Chalice of the Void kind, but they didn't have it on turn 1, so I get to cantrip at least once. Kind of desperately looking for Force of Will to make sure I don't get dumpstered out. Okay, that totally changes the math. We're just like, beep, boop, bop. Here's everything I'd ever want. No land, though. I think I want to put Omniscience on top with Show and Tell under it. I'm just trying to give a little bit of respect to Thought-Knot Seer. And if something gets ripped out of my hand, I would prefer that it is the Omniscience to the Show and Tell. Uh-oh. Honestly, Thought-Knot Seer, though, so much better for me than Chalice of the Void. Like, I'll take this all day. They're going to take the Omniscience, probably. This is why I hid the Show and Tell. There is an Emrakul still hanging out under there. So the Reality Smasher is going to bring the Ruckus next turn. Now there's kind of an awkward decision of brainstorming on my turn to try to hit the land I need, or using Brainstorm to hide the Show and Tell that I'm also going to need to win the game. Wow, what did they take? Where is my exile? They took Ponder. Interesting. Yeah, that's... I am surprised by that take. In my handful of other cantrips, like, why that one? Preordain, I know Emrakul is on top. I think I want to Brainstorm here. Oh no. That is exactly what I didn't want to happen. I needed the land there. I just desperately needed the land there. So, Emrakul, Show and Tell go on top again. Yuck. Yeah, we had a win lined up for next turn. Just needed a land to cast it and didn't get it. Well, they didn't Reality Smash me. Does that mean they have a second Thought-Knot Seer? Yeah, like if they were trying to take me off cantrips, and like now they're going to take Preordain, probably. And Veil of Summer is just super dead in this matchup. I've basically him detract myself while missing a land drop. So let's see if they stick with the taking my cantrips plan, or if they are now worried about Omniscience or Intuition. They take Preordain, we are dead, because we're Brainstorm locked, and they're attacking for 11 next turn, and then 11 the turn after that. Or no, it's more than that, it's 13. And Veil of Summer doesn't cantrip, and yeah, we're just dead. Top card is Emrakul. Can't get there. Okay. I think they took the wrong card with the first Thought-Knot Seer, but it ended up getting there, and then they definitely took the right card with the second one. Bummer. Alright. What do I do here? Dismember comes into the deck. And then, or Echoing Truth, I think is better in the deck. And then, because again, Dismember is cheaper to wish for, or maybe I just play both in the deck, and Cunning Wish has a different job. The Veil of Summers comes straight out. Return to Nature and Force of Vigor are two things I can wish for. So I think I want Return to Nature in the deck because Force of Vigor is free. I can Cunning Wish and Force of Vigor all for 3 mana. So those come in. Do I want the Ceratopses to challenge the board with, or do I want to just try to dumpster this deck? And they're pretty good at being disruptive, and this is a nice sidestep over the combo and Chalice of the Void. So I think I like doing this. Basically, like I said last round, I'm probably just gonna always do this, unless it's just obviously wrong. Like if it's like Oops All Spells or Belcher, I'm not gonna do this, but I will in almost every other situation. All right, I think I like what's going on here. And between the Coatls and the Ceratopses, like you can beat an Eldrazi draw just full of creatures. All right, this one's got a lot of card selection. It's immune to Chalice of the Void. So I just get to Sylvan Library here, and then I'm in the business. And library, the life total off library is incredibly relevant in this matchup. But the card selection, obviously, is going to be worth it almost all the time. Yep. Cavern of Souls, that's why I boarded out one of my forces. This just is not a particularly important Force of Will matchup. Probably take Omniscience here, because if Sylvan Library finds land show and tell, the game is over. And they could probably beat a Grizzlebrand more than they can beat an Omniscience. Alright, Library, show me the land in the show and tell. Give me some justice after producing no lands for me last game. They're thinking pretty hard about this. And I think these are the only choices. Unless they just want to roll the dice against Sylvan Library and take a cantrip. Oh, wow. They took Impulse. Okay. Interesting. Show and tell. Show and tell. Show and tell. Show and tell. Okay, so if I pay 8, I'm at 12, which is not very much life, obviously. But I also do want to get through this deck. Keep them. I'm on the play with the combo deck. This is what I came here for. Alright, we were definitely looking for a fetch land there and got there. So don't need Seagate Restoration anymore. And I'm going to end up drawing the Shifting Ceratops anyway. Like, I think I'm just going to go basic land Coatl this turn. Unless I want to shuffle. Yeah, I think I do want the shuffle. What am I even talking about? I definitely want the shuffle. So in that case, do I want to get rid of Return to Nature? Return to Nature and Ceratops can go. And then I have more lands to play with. Alright. So they should smell this Coatl a mile away. Let's see what they got to follow up here. Okay, nice. So I get to ambush with my Death Touch boy. Draw 2 cards because I get 1 off the cantrip, 1 off the See or Dying. If they have like Dismember or something. Alright, looks like they did not. Draw the extra card. Backup Thought Not Seer. What's the play here? Yeah, sure. Alright, yeah. Luckily I didn't find the show and tell yet, so they probably strip Brainstorm here. Because that's the thing that gets me to show and tell the fastest. I'm a long way off from hardcasting any of this stuff. The Grizzlebrand you can only hardcast in Carpet of Flower matchups. But yeah, stripping Brainstorm here is going to be pretty good for them. And I need Sylvan Library to find that show and tell, as usual. Preferably alongside a Cunning Wish. Alright, I'll take any cantrip. I found Cunning Wish, and Echoing Truth can bounce this thing if I want to buy some time. But I don't think I can afford to do that. So put on top, and if I pay 4, I lose to Reality Smasher. But if I don't, my show and tell's not good enough. Alright, I am being pretty reckless with my life total here, and I'm aware of that. But I think I've done what I can to try to actually win the game. Just give me a show and tell. Pay me off. Ugh. Bottom, and I think I need to just ship this. So if I find a Coatl off of this, that's actually good too. Shifting Ceratops, Brainstorm Library, that one's a shuffle. Come on, Coatl. Uh-oh. Sylvan Libraries don't stack in a meaningful way, so I'm gonna pass and just hope they don't have Smasher. They might have to respect Coatl even if they do have Smasher. But no, that's not true because the library is just such a big threat. Chalice on 2. Yeah, you got it. I'm so glad that wasn't Smasher. They just elbow tapped all their lands. It's like, oh good. I'm not dead. Yeah, 3 is the cost of the spell that I'm trying to cast. Alright, we're all in here. The Chalice on 2 doesn't stop cantrips. A bunch of looks at show and tell. Please give it to me. Alright, good. Put on top. Put on top. Okay. Found the thing we wanted. So I get to put in Omniscience. I have the Cunning Wish, even if they have some sort of fancy trigger thing. Like so. Cast with Omniscience. I'm going to get the Sublime Epiphany. And cast with Omniscience. I want to counter target activated triggered ability, return an on-land permanent, and I'd like to draw a card. Activated or triggered ability, bounce this permanent, and this player draws a card. That was messed up. Good thing I put in the extra work. And then I should cast this one first, because I'll have more cards in hand. Draw a zillion. Emmerich will get in. Wander. It's looking for the Emrakul at the moment. There's Cunning Wish. Okay. Cunning Wish will get the shared summons, which will get the Emrakul, and then we're out of here. Shared summons. I guess I could have sequenced that better. Like if I use Brainstorm, put Grizzlebrand back in the deck. Shared summons can get both. Like, there was really no reason to play the Grizzlebrand earlier in the chain, being at 2 life. So, mild optimization there. All right, good to know. All right, so Oblivion Ring is their technology, so I definitely do need to set up a Cunning Wish to back up my play. The rest of this stuff I think still doesn't matter. I do think Force of Vigor is still better off in the sideboard, though maybe not. Maybe I just want the maximum number of outs to Chalice in the main deck, because Chalice on 1 is a huge problem. I guess it's not really that huge. I really only have the 10 1-drops in the deck, but they're pretty important. I don't know. I changed my mind. I'm going to leave Force of Vigor in the board. I'm just going to run this same deck back. Alright, we're on the draw against a Chalice deck. Yep, this is a keep. 2 sideboard cards and Force of Will in case they have a Chalice. Dismember, so good. Which member? Dismember. Ooh, Elite Spellbinders in this deck. That's hot. I like this card a lot. I 5-0'd with Elite Spellbinder deck on the channel a couple days ago. If you want to go check that video out. Cavern on what? Human. Okay. They are casting humans this game. Spirit of the Lab. That's... Okay, I have the Dismember. It's fine. Oh, I could have forced that. This is not a human. They got me real good. Alright, it's fine. Figure it out. I guess Force Pitching Ponder is, like, worse than dismembering this thing. This card is definitely a problem. And I might as well dismember it now rather than take 3 damage from it that I don't need to take. There's Caracas, so I don't get to just put in an Emrakul or Grizzlebrand if I draw it. I do have to find an Omniscience to back it up, which means that I also need a Cunning Wish to back it up. Though they are down to 2 cards in hand. That one is a human. So I am going to play the Forest this turn. Alright, cool. That gives me the second green source for the second Ceratops. I'm going to put Coatl in my hand. I suspect that they will Spellbind my Ceratops. And I have the second one coming that they don't know about yet. Unless they want to Spellbind Coatl, but Ceratops blanks what they're up to a lot harder than Coatl does. There's you. Alright, what do you want to take? I really hope they take Show and Tell, but I think they're more likely to take one of the creatures. I guess I want Coatl the most out of this hand. Like, even if they take Ceratops, I have a second one, and Coatl will come down a turn earlier than that to interact. So maybe Coatl is the card they're supposed to take, though I hope they're scared of the Show and Tell. Show and Tell is easily the least important card in this hand right now. In perfect hindsight, I wish I had forced the Spirit of the Lab pitching Show and Tell, but obviously don't get to live our lives with perfect hindsight. And I can Coatl for 4, so that's available to me next turn if I want it. So I'm going to take 5 here. And I can still force, because the Cavern's on human, I can still Force of Will a Reality Smasher if I need to. And I'm pretty happy to pitch the Show and Tell at this point. All right, I don't want to draw the redundant Show and Tell. That card is bad. Uh, I mean, okay, that just became pretty interesting. Like I could put show and tell on the stack, and then just cast all these shifting ceratopses. All right, I mean, I'll try it. Containment Priest, sure. Put in Science, cast, cast. This still costs 2 more. Oh, it's not also not in my hand. Okay, never mind. It costs the max. All right, so now I just have to beat this Elite Spellbinder, and if I untap, I'll be able to do that pretty easily. How do I lose this game? Probably Reality Smasher is involved. Yeah, so I'm at 5 right now. And because I have Omniscience in play, obviously I get to just like cheat really hard. Like any spell I draw just goes on the stack. Thalius slows me down a little. I think I want to play this land because then I can cast Coatl and still give my Ceratops reach. Yeah, this is fun. Another Wasteland, don't care. Yeah, if they attack with Spellbinder, I'm just going to give Ceratops reach rather than flashing Coatl in trade when I could just eat. I'm not going to pass up a free meal. All right. No action there. Get you in. Draw an extra card. Cunning Wish. Don't mind if I do. This costs one extra, but it's fine because I can pay 1 extra now, get the shared summons, and then Emrakul and Grizzlebrand are coming. Nice try, opponent. You put up a good fight, but here we are. GG's. Those Ceratopses held the fort. Grizzlebrand, Emrakul. Let's go. Cast with Science. All right, overpowered. Snuck that one right in. I really thought Show and Tell wasn't going to be part of that game plan, and then it just put 10 power onto play and drew a bunch of cards and then won the game. That was awesome. I love this deck. All right, I'm on the play in round 4 with this mulligan. You can't keep a 1-lander that doesn't have lands or doesn't have cantrips. Ugh, this is very close to the same hand. So there is a game I could play here of if they're any blue deck and they cast like Delver or Pond or anything, I could Veil for a cantrip and try to get into these Coatls. But I still think I can do better on 5. Okay. This one at least has cantrips in it, so I think that Coatl and Cunning Wish are probably the bottoms. And I'm going to try to cantrip my way into the Sylvan Library and rebuild my hand that way. Not exciting, but I mean, at least mulligans exist in Magic. I didn't have to keep any of those terrible hands. Yuck. Alright. Got hit with the Motobug, shuffle away Emrakul, draw Emrakul. Got a lot of lands I could draw here. I guess it's not really that many because only like half the lands in my deck are green. Playing against Grixis. Yikes. Alright, let's see what kind of game they want to play. Do they want to take the Brainstorm to keep me off green? Do they want to take the library in case I find green? Do they just want to take the show and tell and be super safe? If there's a Force of Will in their hand, they should take Brainstorm, because then they can force library and I'm not doing anything. But if they force library and that my top 2 cards are just land. Alright, let's draw a fetch land. Oh. This is not Grixis, this is Reanimator. Alright, it doesn't really matter what I draw because I'm going to lose. Especially that one. Alright. We are dead Zos. I guess this could also be... the Epic Storm doesn't main deck Thoughtseize. It could be a Storm deck, but it's probably Reanimator. So 2 Polluted Deltas, though I guess you can just play any black fetch land in this deck and it doesn't matter. So it's probably Reanimator, though it could be a Storm deck. Here's where they take the library. They can see the whole plan lined up here, but unfortunately it's not any good. Unless they're worried. Okay, they are worried about me drawing like Ancient Tomb, which is not in my deck, but they don't know that. Right, am I getting stormed out here? Ooh. What? That's pretty great. Oh, I've never seen that interaction before. That's so cool. Villa sees you lose the life when you reanimate it, so you get to draw 8 cards right away. Never seen that technology. I like it. And I'm still not convinced it's better than Grizzlebrand, but I do like it. And each of these Lotus Petals can draw 2 more cards, because they can pay 2 life, give Villas -1/-1. And each of those 2 life payments. So it's really not going to matter. They had 2 Thoughtseizes into this turn 2 win. Like I was never winning this matchup. All right. You got me. Seeing Ashen Rider is worth noting. That is a card that matters in the show and tell matchup. So I am not moving into Shifting Ceratops this time. I'm moving into Flusterstorm, Grafdigger's Cage, Surgical Extraction. The Veil of Summers are excellent here because they disrupt the discard spells. If I need to Cunning Wish for Force of Vigor, that can destroy and animate dead, I guess. But in general, this is the plan. Oh, I need to cut 4 cards. I don't just get to bring in 4 cards for free. Though I can. You are allowed to do that. It's just not generally recommended. I don't think there's going to be time for Sylvan Library in this matchup. And there's not really time for Coatl either, but it is a blue card for Force. And it is a flash threat when if we get into sort of a holding pattern. What is not so good? It's got to be Drawn from Dreams. I cut that card basically every time I play this matchup, or play this deck. I sideboard that card out in almost every matchup. But I think it makes a lot of sense to be in the main deck. It's just definitely the worst card when you're going into sideboards. Alright, here we go. So I want like 2 lands, Veil of Summer. Alright, that's exactly what I asked for. I'll take it. 2 lands, Veil of Summer, Coatl, Show and Tell, Force of Will. This is the hand I would choose if I was cheating. At multiple redraws to find something to put in with this show. Mystic Sanctuary is the card here that I would not choose on purpose. So I guess the interesting choice here is if I do have to Force of Will this turn, do I pitch Show and Tell or Icefang Coatl? I think that's actually an interesting choice, and I'm not sure. I'll wait to see what they do with it. Lotus Petal. Inquisition of Kozilek. Definitely time for a little bit of summer. Alright, that's the blowout we're looking for. Please and thank you. Still sitting on Show and Tell over here. I'm just gonna pass. I don't know what I'm brainstorming for yet. Like if they just don't do anything, I can Coatl. If they do something I need to force, I'll force it. Hiss. Right, additional hissing. I think this is a good time to brainstorm because I have a bunch of dead cards here. They didn't really get any better, but that's fine. Ooh, if I stack these the other way, I can Mystic Sanctuary, Veil of Summer back on top of my deck next turn. Or I guess I'm drawing both of these cards anyway because I have Coatl. Begin the beats. Force of Will can pitch probably Seagate Restoration. If I'm going to pitch something, I can Intuition for Omniscience next turn. So I have a 2-turn line to win the game with 1 Force of Will to protect me. They appear to be just passing the turn again. Every time they do that, an angel gets its wings. So do I even Mystic Sanctuary here? Because I'm going to Intuition this turn anyway. I think I should, because then I can Intuition for 3 Veil of Summers if I need to. Yeah, that's clever. I like that. Yeah, so I'm going to Intuition for Omniscience if they don't do anything, and I can Intuition for Veil if they do something. I can Cunning Wish for nothing important. Alright, Cunning Wish isn't the plan. Cunning Wish is the plan to win with the Omniscience. Because we've seen Ashen Rider, so having the Wish is going to be rel. Right, they haven't done anything in 3 turns now. They've just draw go. No land, no additional anything. So we can presume that at least 5 of the cards in their hand are spells. And they're just looking for some sort of flurry to take the game over. Unmask targeting themselves. So that's not a play you make if you have another way to get a card in the graveyard. Yeah, so they're not going to unmask me because they saw me float that Veil of Summer. But that does mean that they have a thing worth putting into play in their hand. And a way to reanimate it. Alright, so that resolves. If they have like Surgical Extraction, they get all my Omnisciences, but that shouldn't be a card in their deck. What did they pitch? They pitched Dark Ritual to unmask. Alright, yeah, they're just giving up. They don't even want to know what's going on. They're like, okay, I believe you. Cool. Alright, oh, Return to Nature is also a graveyard hate card. I just missed that one on the first way through. That's also something I could have Cunning Wished for that game when I said I have nothing to Cunning Wish for. So, wrong. Okay. I think that Coatl is worse than Impulse in this matchup. As nice as Coatl is, Impulse just digs deeper, and that's mostly what matters here. And I'm replacing this 2-mana not quite interactive spell with this 2-mana interactive spell, so my average or my mana cost in the deck distribution hasn't changed. Okay, let's go. Veil of Summer's a lot worse on the draw, but I'm still into it. Card's real good against the deck full of Black Disruption cards. This hand is bad. This hand is good. So I'm going to keep this and ship, I think, Basic Island. Yeah, I'd rather have the Vista in case I find a Brainstorm or Ponder. And then Force of Will help me get to my first turn, and if I get to my first turn, I have Flusterstorm to go with it. 1 discard spell doesn't clear this hand. Oh, opponent's on 4. Though resolving Show and Tell is part of my plan, no matter what. So them being on 4, if they have something that beats a Show and Tell. Though with Cunning Wish, that's kind of hard to do. Oh, wow, nothing go. They're just all in on me casting Show and Tell for them. It's the old, like, move to discard plan, but you're on a multi 4. That's not very good. So it's kind of like I was on the play, but I also got to draw a card. Right, Entomb, no. Alright, no love. Yeah, so by countering Entomb, you also counter all the reanimation spells in their hand. And any others they may draw. And is currently not the best. What does a Naked Cunning Wish do? Assuming they just pass the turn, do nothing. Naked Cunning Wish, this is a sorcery, that doesn't help. Yeah, that really doesn't do anything. Unmask targeting themselves. Pitching Dark Ritual. I think I'm supposed to force this. Though, if they take a card from their hand, I can force the next thing. Ox of Agonis. Alright, that's a pretty reasonable card to have in your hand. So I can force the reanimate and then they're hellbent. Do I pitch the Cunning Wish or the Show and Tell? I pitch the Cunning Wish, I think. Yeah, that just really doesn't do much on its own. Alright, Hellbent. One land. Time to find some cantrips, or even if I could just put Omniscience into play right now, I will. This is a game we could lose. I really need a brainstorm. Alright, I like a Coatl. I am just going to main phase it here. In case I find Ponder, I do want to get that card moving. Okay, Impulse, cool. I can Impulse in their end step. And keep this game moving forward. Let's get 2 islands because those are the cards left in my deck. I can't get Mystic Sanctuary because I played that basic forest. I don't think I would Mystic Sanctuary something back anyway. Veil Force Coatl. I guess I can hardcast Force at this point, but I think I'd rather move the game forward with Coatl. Is that even true? No, I think not losing. I will eventually win if I don't lose in this sort of matchup. I have a clock in play, an anemic one, but it is a clock. And let's go. My next fetch land can regrow Impulse, so that's pretty exciting. But we're not in a great spot here. We're ahead, but it could turn on a dime. Alright, that's an Impulse. I can Force of Will and then still get Impulse. And we can probably assume that there's something scary in their hand, that if I cast Show and Tell, they're going to get to jam. Finding the second mana is terrifying. Because now that unlocks all the Animate Zeds and Exhumes. They could even put in Animate Dead off of Show and Tell. Don't know if that's good, but it's a thing they can do. Impulse on top. Cast it. Surgical, Return to Nature, Icefang Coatl, Brainstorm. I think that Surgical is where I want to be. Return to Nature does a similar thing, but Surgical gets to see their hand and deck, so I'm going to do that. You know, a real hero would take Brainstorm and just swing for the win, but I'm not a hero. I'm comfortable attacking for 17 with Icefang Coatl. That's all. They're gonna hardcast an Unmask on me. Oh, I probably should have paid attention. They were pretty close to just escaping Ox of Agonis. Probably should have kept an eye on that. Alright, Faithless Looting in hand. What's in this deck? Villas. 4 Grizzlebrand, of course. 4 Animate Dead. Ashen Rider. 3 more Reanimates, 2 Exhumes. Yeah, all the normal stuff. Sire of Insanity. Shenanigans. Alright. Remember to click the Ox. Okay, and Faithless Looting is in their hand. Alright, so that means I can cast Show and Tell if I find a monster, because they don't have anything to put in. Brainstorm, let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm very close to casting the Seagate Restoration. Cunning Wish at this point. Do you still not do anything? I could wish for Sublime Epiphany. I actually think that's good. I'm there. I'm on that amount of mana. So I can put back the 2 Show and Tells. And then, do I want to Ponder? Yeah, probably. Okay, cool. That's gas. Alright, so they have a Shenanigans in their deck, but that'll save me a lot of stress. I'm not going to play this as a land because I think it's going to be better as a spell somehow. And I'm going to wish for Sublime Epiphany this turn. Classic. Actual factual Sublime Epiphany for 6 mana in Legacy. That's so sick. So I get to draw a card. I get to copy Coatl, which also draws a card. And I get to counter whatever spell they're casting. Amazing. Oh, Faithless Looting and 2 mystery cards over there. Packed it up. Can't beat Sublime Epiphany. Nobody can. Final round. And I am on the play with a respectable hand, playing for the trophy in the final round. So this hand has the Omniscience, has the Grizzlebrand, has a Force of Will if we need it. Get to cantrip a couple times here with the Preordain and the Coatl. I don't think I want Wish, but I will take this Sylvan Library. Yeah, so playing for 5-0 here with Blue-Green OmniShow. This deck it's solid. It's definitely a thing you can do. Alright, so Volcanic Island Preordain. This could be Blue-Red Delver, could be another combo deck. They bottomed. Would really like to draw a basic forest right now. I bottomed that, didn't I? Hit that Motobug again. So I have to fetch the Trop here, which plays into Wasteland, which I don't like, but I do like putting Sylvan Library into play. So resolves. That's good news. Alright, so is this a combo deck? I'm going to save my Force of Will for when I try to jam Show and Tell onto the stack. Fighting over 2/1 creatures, like the whole point of playing a combo deck is you get to ignore shit like that. Alright, so put this on top, or do I just want all of this? No, I'm going to draw extra cards, so I'm going to save the life total, put this on top, and pay 4 to keep this. So now I can Coatl, try to ambush this young Pyromancer. I have Veil of Summer backing me up now. It's got to find a Show and Tell, and then I can get Grizzlebrand into play and go bonkers with Omniscience. That's how I'm lining this game up. Even if they have discard spells, because they are some sort of Grixis deck, the Veil is a huge deal with that. And I'm not going to refuse that forest on top of my deck. Like, if I cast Coatl, I'm not going to fetch first. Oh, Wasteland's bad news. Alright, now I definitely want that forest on top of my deck. Quad will go. Alright. Or not forest, it was an island. My bad. Preordain. I am gonna fetch now. I don't know if they're a stifle deck. I'm just gonna make sure that I don't get stifled. Alright, so being down 1 mana here so I don't get to Veil is not the most exciting. Found the show and tell. Put on top, and I guess I can put Emrakul on top because that is just really not part of the plan. So I can put show and tell on the stack, or I can spend another turn digging. But if I was going to do that, I should have paid for it. All right, I'm just going to put show and tell on the stack. Hope they don't have days. Shit. So force pitching. I think I'm actually going to pitch the Omniscience, because there is a second one on top of the deck, but Cunning Wish doesn't do anything without Omniscience. So, and vice versa. Actually, what does Cunning Wish do without Omniscience? It's Echoing Truth. No, I'm going to pitch the Wish, because the Omniscience is the one that actually wins the game if it works. Oh, they had another one. Okay, so I said, like, in the deck tech, that being patient is what this game is about. Like, use your life total. You're going to get one chance at resolving show and tell, do it right. And I just panicked and put it on the stack. I think if I just, like, pay 4 or 8 life this turn, get through these dead cards on top of the deck, find the extra land, cast Veil of Summer with Veil still available, like, I think I win this game, but I just panicked and now I'm going to lose for sure. Like, I know the top of my deck is 2 blanks. Yeah, loosey-goosey. Okay, Mag Angler. Alright. Yep. Alright, so I have to find Show and Tell as my 3rd card down right now. And didn't do it. Alright, yeah. So if I pay 4 last turn, I find Seagate Restoration and something else this turn, and I can go with Veil backup and Force. If I pay 4, that puts me to 5. 1, 2, 3. I'm at 2. The Force puts me to... Oh, but I already paid life for Force, so... Okay. Yeah, I was impatient there. The Wasteland got me. Just freaked out for no reason. Alright, shake it off. Shifting Ceratops. We pivot onto that. Young Pyromancer is really good against Shifting Ceratops, where, like, Delver's Secrets isn't. But I'm still not excited to try to resolve Show and Tell against the Red Blast Daze deck. Intuition. I think Library is, like, fine, but I don't need all 3 of them if I have this secondary plan here. Force of Will is also kind of sketch. Like, obviously, if I line up a turn 3, it's good, but if I don't, it's bad. So I think I want to rely on Veil of Summer to do that anyway, and just kind of pivot harder onto the creature strat in general. Quaddles are great. Show and Tell has to stay in. Alright, sorry, Force of Will. That may be heretical to cut that card in a blue matchup, but Veil of Summer, the Ceratops, Carpet of Flowers getting ahead of Soft Permission, like, that's the game plan I want to play here. Maybe Dismember's supposed to be in the deck too, but I'll wish for it if I need it, I guess. Alright, I'm going to keep this hand. I need this Ponder to deliver some lands. I guess I have Restoration to I have a land in a pinch, but I won't be happy if I have to use that. I don't know. Like Wasteland is such a beating. The deck plays eight basic lands, which is like among the most of any legacy deck. But this hand isn't particularly conducive to fetching them. Shit. Got there. Kinda. I still wish this was a basic forest, but it does at least get the trop. I can play the Coatl. Yeah, go ahead. Seize me. Yeah, I'm not gonna force this. Like, especially they have days in their deck. If I force and then they have days, they just lines up perfectly and they get 3 cards. Taking Coatl was pretty smart. That is my way to continue moving forward in the game. I can show and tell next turn, but it plays straight into days and everything else that I said I'm not supposed to do. Come on. Discard is so good when you don't have Veil of Summer. Probably take the show and tell here. Yep. You have the surgical as well. Just clean me out. Semi-packing. Coatl? Oh, that's not a Coatl. Alright, what's in my sideboard I can wish for? And I guess I can wish for Intuition. I'll pay 3 life. Gotta try to keep this game moving forward. They're not really pressuring my life total right now. If they have a Stifle, I'm wrecked, and GG. Wasteland's also really bad here, but Wasteland's also really bad. If they have Surgical Extraction, and they let this Cunning Wish resolve for Intuition, then let Intuition resolve and strip my Show and Tells, that would totally tank a 3-turn line with a single card. Yeah, we're way behind here, and it's not getting very good. Shifting Ceratops is the card that can still win this game, like, reasonably. But I need both that card and the second Grain Source before that becomes a thing. Delver. Alright, so they could have Red Blast. Red Blast is much preferable, significantly more reasonable to me than Stifle would be. Alright, looks like they don't have Stifle. Is this something you want to fight over? Okay, one day is down. Love finding Ponders. Okay. Okay. Alright, so I wish this... Alright, Delver doesn't even matter. I've got the Mighty. Brainstorm on top. Please don't waste me. They didn't waste me last turn when they could have, so I feel like they don't have one, but they did just draw Brainstorm. They could find one. Just let me get my Ceratops into play, please. That's interesting, leading on Preordain instead of Brainstorm. That must mean their hand is good. They have one Underground Sea, Brainstorm, and then... Come on. Alright, well... Now that... the Ceratops is off the table anyway, I probably want a Cunning Wish here. And I think I want to get Dismember. Not happy about it, but I think that's the right play. The time for a Red Blast. Yep. Is it time for a Force of Will? And probably not. So I know their hand is Brainstorm, Underground Sea, and one mystery card. If I get Dismember, or maybe I could just get Impulse. But what does that even do? I think I have to force this and get my Dismember. God, this is awful. Yes. Yeah, Dismember is the best thing to get here. Ouch. So I'm at 6 against this deck with Lightning Bolt in it. Okay, I'm all set up here. Maybe I should have left the Misty in my hand in case they want to fire off a Thoughtseize to check it. They have Garmag Angler. Nope, Young Peasy. Also not good. Ceratops. Ooh. I'll cast this in second main just to so I have one less trigger to click through. All right, well, hard cast Grizzlebrand. New plan. I'm one. Oh no, not even close. This is not an island. I'm not even close to Mystic Sanctuary being a thing. And I'm dead to Lightning Bolt if I crack my fetch land. What do I even want to find here? It's got to be just like Coatl into Ponder. Alright, well. If you ask and the deck delivers, you better do it. They'll make blue mana off carpet. So if they have Red Blast, I just lose. They just counter this. I'm empty. Yep. Obliterated by Grixis Delver in the finals. Tough matchup. They have Red Blast, they have a clock, they have discard. Like they attack your hand and the stack. 4-1 is respectable though. So thoughts about this deck. The one of Eureka, it didn't come up, but we did play against one Meddling Mage deck where it might have been relevant. I don't know if you need all 3 Sylvan Library. 2 will probably do you. I wish that the sideboard had something more fair to do with Cunning Wish. Like, I don't know. If there's some, like, mediocre cantrip or something, like, I don't know, like, Concentrate or Inspiration, just like some sort of, like, divination you can wish for when you're spinning your wheels would be pretty nice. But I don't know if you want to plan for that bad scenario or if you just want to commit to having the good scenario. That game 1 I just lost in the finals was definitely because I was impatient. I had the Veil, I had the Force, I could beat a wall of counterspells if I just got to 4 mana, and I didn't give myself the extra turn to get there. So that was totally on me. The rest of the league, the deck performed, and there were some games I thought we were losing that we ended up winning. Just put Omniscience into play, cast 2 Shifting Ceratops, off you go. I'm not sure you need 3 Ceratops either. Like 2 is probably fine with the amount of cantrips and how unkillable it is once it's actually in play. But seasoned to taste, according to your metagame. Otherwise, I mean, there's not a whole lot to say about the shell of this deck. You can, like, the Coatls, the Sylvan Libraries are the flex slots, I think. And everything else is pretty solid. I guess you could mess around with Solve the Equation over Intuition if you want to really dedicate to the Turbo Omniscience version of the deck. So that's a thing you could do as well. I've seen that more in Blue-White Omni than Blue-Green Omni, because Green does have this other stuff to do, but Blue-White is all about just going off once to Fairy Sticks. Keep an eye on this channel, by the way. I have a Blue-White Omni deck in my donation queue to record that'll be up in a couple weeks. So there will be more of this sort of content if you like it. And Vinny, thanks for sharing the deck. I do like blue-green Omni. I do have a lot of respect for this deck. As a ponderous blue control mage, I'm terrified of this deck. So that there is something to be said for that. So Vinny, thanks for the deck. Everyone else, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.